Hello, everybody, and welcome to another misconception guide brought to you by Mr. Cantor. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples today. Today, we're going to look at one example done by multiple students. Try to figure out which one is wrong and try to figure out which one is correct. We're going to look at what makes these examples wrong, and we're going to look at what is the actual correct way to answer these problems. All right, so follow along, pause the video when you have to try things on your own. I will also prompt you to try these problems on your own and try to figure out where the misconception is before I give the answer away. All right, with that out the way, let's jump into this video. So if we take a look at this explore example from your lesson, you will notice it says, consider the numbers 1/2, 0, 1, -1.5, -1/2, and -1. They want you to order these numbers from least to greatest on the number line. So before we talk about what this student did, I want you to try this example on your own, pause this video, and then you can compare your work with what the student got so we can see, can you catch where their misconception lies? All right, so please pause the video. All right, welcome back. So let's take a look at what this student did. They started with 1/2 because it is halfway between 0 and 1. That's why they plotted it here. Let's keep going. They plotted 0. They plotted 1. They plotted -1.5. They plotted -1/2. And let's see what else they did. Okay, so they're saying that the answer from least to greatest is -1.5, -1/2, 0, 1/2, and 1. So the question is this correct or is there a misconception here? Please pause the video and let me know what you think. Okay, welcome back. If you said this problem is done the wrong way, then you actually are correct in saying that. Because if you notice, here is one number plotted, another number plotted, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 numbers have been plotted. However, if we look at the actual question, you will see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 numbers in the original problem. So what this student did wrong is they accidentally forgot to plot one of the numbers. That's unfortunate, all right? So my advice to everybody watching this video is to make sure that after you finish plotting all your points, go back to the original question and check, did you actually plot every single point in the problem, okay? That's gonna save you from making these types of mistakes. All right, with that said, let's jump in and look at the next student. Okay, so for this one, since you already had a chance to try this example on your own, for this one, we're gonna just look at what the student did, and then we're gonna pause the video and try to see, can we figure out what went wrong? Okay, so let's see. We're plotting 1/2, again, exactly between 0 and 1, so it's halfway to 1. We plotted 0, we plotted 1, we plotted -1.5, we plotted -1/2, and we plotted -1. And let's see what their final answer is. They're saying from least to greatest, you have 1 first, then you have 1/2, then you have 0, then you have -1/2, then you have -1, and then you have -1.5. Is there something wrong here? Or is everything here correct? Please pause this video and see if you can figure this one out for yourself. Okay, welcome back. If you said that there is actually something wrong here, then again, you are correct. This student also made a crucial mistake. Now, in this problem, it says that you need to organize these numbers from least to greatest. All right, least to greatest. And the way we read in mathematics is also the same way we read in English. We read from left to right, which means the leftmost number is the first number we're going to look at. And if we need to organize this from least to greatest, then the leftmost number should be the smallest or the least number from the set. In this situation here, the leftmost number is the number 1. The first number we see is 1. And the last number we see is -1.5. Between both of these, we can see that 1 is actually not smaller than -1.5. In fact, it's the other way around. 1 is actually greater than negative 1.5, because the further you are to the left on the number line from 0, the further we go in this direction, the smaller these numbers get. And negative 1.5 is 1.5 spaces to the left of 0, whereas 1 is actually to the right of 0. And the further we move to the right on the number line, the greater our numbers become. So it seems as if our student here had to take the order and switch it, and maybe then they would be correct. All right. So with that said, let's take a look at student number 3. Again, I'm going to show you what this student did, and it is your job to try to figure out where the misconception lies. All right, let's see what they did. They plotted 1/2, halfway between 0 and 1. They plotted 0. They plotted 1. They plotted negative 1.5. They plotted negative 1/2. And they plotted negative 1. Okay, so what was their final answer? Let's see. Their final answer was from least to greatest. First would be negative 1.5, followed by negative 1, followed by negative 1/2, followed by 0, followed by 1/2, followed by 1. So the question is this correct, or is there a misconception here? So please pause the video and try to figure out for yourself, is this answer correct, or is there yet another mistake here? Okay, welcome back. If you said that this answer is correct, then you are also correct. Good job with this one. So let's take a look a little bit more closely at what this student did. 1/2 goes directly between 0 and 1 because it is halfway to 1. 0 is placed directly on top of 0. 1 is placed directly on top of 1, negative 1.5. This one is placed between negative 1 and negative 2. And the reason for that is it is halfway to the negative 2. That's why we are at negative 1.5. Now, if we take a look at negative 1/2, that is placed between 0 and negative 1 because we are halfway to negative 1. Let's keep going. They place negative 1 directly on top of negative 1, which is really good. And now, like we said in the previous example, we want least to greatest, which means the first number we should see, the number all the way to the left, should be the smallest out of all the numbers here. And we can see that this number is negative 1.5. Because if you look at your number line, you will notice that negative 1.5 is all the way to the left on this number line from this specific set of numbers. So it makes sense for this one to be the smallest because remember, the further you go to the left, the smaller your value really is. So negative 1.5 goes first, followed by negative 1, which is exactly what we see here on the number line. Negative 1 is getting closer to 0. Followed by negative 1/2, which is yet again getting closer to 0. It's actually halfway between negative 1 and 0. Then we have 0, which is directly above itself, which is good. Now we're finally neutral. We're not negative anymore. From 0, we're going to 1/2. So now we're in the positive zone. We're at 1/2. Followed by the number 1, which is the last number in this data set, which actually is the greatest one of all. So you can see that this student actually plotted these points from negative 1.5 all the way to positive 1. And you can see that negative 1.5 is the least. And you can see that 1 is the greatest. This is how we know this student has got the correct answer. We can also check to make sure they used all their numbers. We see they used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we can see that this question has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video has helped you uncover misconceptions from other students. That way you do not make these same misconceptions. All right, if you can learn from these mistakes, your mathematical skills will greatly improve. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, I'm Mr. Cantor, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care for now.